I find interesting is there's a lot written about actors, about how they get into, how they become an actor. You know, you can read about it anywhere, but I think it's quite, and I particularly have a niece who's getting into directing, and she's asked about how she gets into directing, and I think I actually don't know what to say to her, because it seems really impossible.
To be honest, I started a company when I left college. I had a job initially. I got a job as a runner on a TV programme, but I hated it. Anyway, I decided to start a theatre company because I thought there was a sensible bit of me that when I'm only 22, I've got nothing to lose. Why don't I do the thing that I really want to do? And if it doesn't work, I can do something else. And actually, I'm really glad I had that sensible bit of my brain, because I really believe that the worst thing in life is having regrets. And those come from not doing something. They very rarely come from doing something.
Yeah, that's absolutely right.
So I did know that. But I honestly did not... I had super confidence on one level and no confidence on the other, because I never imagined anyone would pay me. What? How? Why would I be paid? On what basis? So I didn't even write to people to ask for a job. I didn't even know that there were sort of things like trainee, sort of assistant directing things. Anyway, I started a company and I did that for 2 years, and I sort of got good at raising money, but I didn't really know the first thing about directing. I mean, I was just winging it. And then eventually, the roads coalesced and I ended up at the RSC
we were back
as an
together.
assistant when you were there.
You know,
So we sort of came back together.
Came back together.
And actually, that was a great time for me.
Spear carrying, and you were sort of...
I was an assistant director.
Yeah, which is the...
Yeah, I was an assistant director, but I learned so much. And because I've been running a company and paying people and doing VAT returns and all that sort of stuff, it's such a responsibility to be paid, to be in Stratford-on-Avon and go to Peter Hall's rehearsals every day and watch these incredible actors. There was a lot of moaning going on, I seem to remember, in that year. I was just... I was
amazing.
Euphoric. And I did learn a huge amount that year.
And you were given quite a lot of responsibility, I remember.
I ended up having a lot of responsibility, yeah. Because I stayed. You left. You went off. You were too zhuzhy to stay. I stayed and went to London and did 2 years, basically. Did 2 years. But the first year, when I got the job, I literally remember jumping up and down around. I was staying at my dad's. I was working as a security guard at night. It was the worst job ever. Basically, what happened was a company that made loads of their staff redundant, and they threatened to come back and burn the place down, and I was the security guard, me.
Definitely secure in your hands.
Really intimidating, should they come around with torches. Anyway. So it was I had to give up my flat. I was staying with my dad. It was, like, not a good time in my life. And then I got an interview for the RSC, and I worked my arse off for the interview. I tell you, I was so prepared. I got 2 interviews, I got the job, and the day I got the job, I literally was jumping around the room, because it was the first time anyone in the sort of official theatre, or anything official, had gone, "We're choosing you." I couldn't believe it, because everything I'd done before that, I'd sort of generated myself. And for directors starting now, there is no path. Every director you speak to has a different journey. Sometimes they get opportunities very young, sometimes they have to wait. But I think what you said is such a great sort of thing to do, which is just be excellent, try and get better at what you do. I think that's when I look back at my time, I think the opportunities I didn't have back then, which were very frustrating to me, sort of after that period when I left the RSC, I was so frustrated I had to go be painting and decorating, doing all sorts of other things. I couldn't make a living. It was really hard. But when I think about it, I read and I thought, and I got better.
Yeah.
I did do bits and pieces, but I got better.
Yeah.
And I think that's so important, because you can always improve.